Welcome to Cord vs. Cryptid. I'm your ringmaster, Kiki, the queen of everything. If this is your first time here, this is a bonus episode where we pit our co-host and resident professional wrestler, Cord, against a cryptid we have already talked about on the main show. For this battle, we have our guest GM, the man who likes to give the smackdown to the Dirty Water Boys on Lost Legends Tales of Thurne, the amazing Ben, aka Beardy the Dungeon Master. Ben will be playing the legendary owl lady of Mexican folklore, La Lechuza. If you're not familiar with this cryptid, you can listen to episode 56. Gentlemen, is there anything you'd like to say to each other before the mayhem begins?
Bored. More like bored. Your act is washed up. More washed up than the Titanic.
The Titanic wasn't washed up, it sank.
Not yet. It's some time.
La Lechuza, if you think for a second that I'm gonna be scared to fight you because you're a giant horrifying bird monster that can fly, if you're gonna come at me as just some lady with a bunch of bird feathers, you best come with something a bit stronger than that, loser.
So, the story begins on a dark and stormy night in the desert of the southwest American states, New Mexico to be exact. Cord would know, this is pretty uncommon. You know, it's hot, arid desert. It's not often they get thunderstorms like this. I mean, thick black clouds, rain pouring so hard you can't hardly see 10 feet in front of you. The only illumination you get is the strikes of lightning and the peals of thunder that happen every couple of minutes. Now, Cord, you would be at this point crossing the border from Mexico into New Mexico, having just attended the annual Lucha Mundo.
Hey,
It's a gathering of all the luchadores, the luchadores.
I'm totally okay with that one.
The rain is starting to soak your big gold belt that you won.
Hey,
This is a little bit irritating for you. It's like, oh, this is supposed to be like a bright sunny day, and now it's raining cats and dogs. So I need you to roll a perception check.
oh boy. All of my skills are negatives. I rolled a 5.
All right, so we'll say it takes you a little bit longer to find it, but you do eventually see one of those road signs where it's the wooden pole with one arrow pointing one way and one pointing a different way. The closest town would be Columbus, New Mexico, at about a mile away.
Okay.
You're able to make your way through the storm here. I mean, you are drenched, like 100% drenched by the time you make it into town. You'd be able to see some of the lights off in the distance. A couple of trucks driving by. The town looks to be about 1,000 people. It's relatively small. Closest establishment you find where you can dry off and get an ale of your choosing is a local watering hole. They call it La Bruja.
La Bruja. I like that.
It's got the old saloon-style doors, you know, that kind of blow in when the rain and the water comes in. It's like maybe 8, 9 o'clock at night. The whole place is just kind of slow. You know, everyone kind of goes at their own speed. You see a couple of Native American fellows playing cards off in the corner. You would see a Latino man behind the bar cleaning a couple of glasses. And up at the bar, on one of the stools, you would see this man. He kind of almost seems to be swaying back and forth like he's listening to a song in his head. He's just got to move with it. You can almost see the bubbles coming off of his head. This guy is DRUNK. Caps.
Good start. I guess I'll take a seat, maybe not next to him, but nearby, and order something.
The bartender kind of looks at you. He's about average height. He's got black hair. He's balding a little bit. He's got a kind of a thick black mustache. He's got an apron on that's covered in like oil and stains and stuff. He sets down the glass and he says, welcome to La Bruja. What kind of drink did you fancy today, senor?
Since I guess just got off a show, I should probably hydrate, so water would be fine.
Are you sure? We have Corona. Not the kind that shuts the world off, the kind that shuts your brain off, if you know what I mean. And he kind of winks at you and nudges you.
Sure, that sounds fine.
Excellent. 2 Corona, 1 water. Excellent. He goes to the back and he starts to pour it into these big, kind of wide brim glasses. At this point, the drunken feller, he would look over. He looks kind of like he hasn't bathed in a week. He's kind of covered in like sweat. He's got kind of graying hair that's pretty short kept. And he's got like the Rodney Dangerfield eyes, you know, where they're kind of bugging out.
Yeah, okay.
So he would see you across the bar and kind of get up and slink on over to you and sit right next to you, kind of get right up in your grill. He's like, hey, partner, ain't you just a big fella?
Yeah, sure.
The hell do they feed you? Like where you're from?
Plenty of halupki.
I don't know a word you just said. How about you buy a drink for your old buddy Luis Gonzo? And he kind of playfully punches your shoulder.
Inside check, is this guy trying to rob me?
Go ahead and roll insight, yeah.
I rolled the 17.
17? No, he just seems to be like a very friendly drunk.
Okay. I'm going to make sure my nice new gold belt is strapped on tightly. And then I will pass him one of the Coronas that I just bought, since I guess I bought 2.
Heck yeah. Yeah, the bartender, he's just kind of gonna shoot you a look and be like, I guess it's your drink. As long as you pay in cash, I don't care that much who you give it to, I guess. The thing is, old Luis Ganso over here has already had 6.
Oh, jeez.
He says, 6 what? I've parsed myself with a glass of water. Bartender's like, yeah, last week, you borracho. At this point, you can tell the storm is starting to really get worse outside. Like, there's just massive thunder, lightning, illuminates the sky like it was day for a brief moment. Causes a lot of people sitting by the windows of this establishment to kind of move inward a little bit, in case any of the windows bust open. Luis Ganso would ask you a little bit about yourself. Be like, hey, so what brings giant people into Columbus here? What are you, some kind of luchador?
Yes, I am a professional wrestler. I guess around here they're mostly called luchadors.
Yeah, I guess by that belt. I ain't seen a belt that big since I skipped Sunday school.
You had belts this big in Sunday school?
As well, the nuns did, yes.
Oh, jeez.
Granted, they weren't gold and they were a bit thinner and actually looked nothing like that, to be honest.
As I kind of look down and see all the things etched in gold and champion across the side, just champion nuns, huh?
Totally. So yeah, your new buddy, Luis Ganso here, he would talk your ear off, and according to him, he's done it all. He was one of the first men on the moon. He invented the steam engine back in the day. He then improved on it to create a gasoline engine for Henry Ford back in Detroit. And he went over and won the Second World War single-handedly. You know, he's just spinning all these yarns. This guy has been there and done that twice, according to him.
I keep seeming to run into these people. Okay. I'll entertain it since that worked before.
He just kind of looks at you, lets out a loud burp. Kind of in your face, but not like intentionally. Like he's not trying to be a jerk.
Yeah.
He stands up and he says, well, amigo, I gotta go bleed the lizard. I tell you what, as soon as I come back, I give you the tale about how I saved this entire town from burning one time.
Okay. I'll nod him off. All right, man.
And he just kind of like shambles outside. It's like a miracle that he doesn't fall flat on his face, but you get the feeling he's probably got a lot of practice.
Okay. I'm going to steal a little Henry Zabrowski and go, check, please.
Excellent. Yeah, the bartender, Patron, he comes over and he just takes the check. He goes to hand it to you and he thinks better of it and tears it. And he says, look, man, Luis, if he's not bothering me with stories, he's bothering you with these stories. And I've already heard more times than I can count. So he says, you listen to him, you keep him off my back. We call it even, huh?
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Babysitter Wrestler Man.
Babysitters. Okay, I guess I won't book out then.
So yeah, as you kind of scan around the bar, there's a couple of people that come in from the storm. They got heavy ponchos on and big wide-brimmed hats to block the rain. A couple of people, they leave to get out into the storm and head home before it gets any worse. Could I have you roll perception? Actually, insight. We'll have it be insight on second thought.
4. Yeah, that's a good one.
4? Say 20 minutes go by. It's like, you start to get this weird feeling like, man, how long does it take this guy to piss?
He's probably passed out somewhere then, so should probably check on him to make sure he's not drowning in a ditch somewhere, face down.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, he's a drunk, but he's a harmless drunk. He's about as harmless as a fruit fly.
Sure.
As you make your way out, the lightning illuminates for a moment and lingers, gives you a pretty good view of the place. You can see a lot of the cars and vehicles have kind of gone in for the night, at this point it being around 10 o'clock p.m. As you look around the corner of the place, lightning flashes again, and you see a large owl creature. It looks to be about 6 feet tall, 7 or 8 foot wingspan, and it is devouring Luis Ganso, just like ripping his eyes out, tongue is on the ground. This guy's just been eviscerated.
Oh.
And as soon as you look around the corner, you look at it, it looks at you, and it turns its head, and it's got these bright yellow eyes. The lightning will flash, and you see the whole creature, and then it dies dark again, and only the yellow eyes glow.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
The wings are covered in feathers. They're jet black. It has talons for feet. This thing looks monstrous.
Oh, it's happening again, huh? Keep rolling into these small towns and seeing these weird things now. I shouldn't have left Pennsylvania. Oh, jeez. So, what do my general surroundings look like?
A little bit cobblestone, kind of dirt alleyway to the side of this building here. It's probably about 8 feet wide, and both buildings, the bar and the building next to it, hardware store, they are both about 10 feet, 12 feet high.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so kind of narrow-ish This creature, its wingspan takes up most of the width of this alleyway.
That sucks. So, last time I had a trusty axe because I was in my car. It doesn't seem I have my car this time. And I don't think I'd just be crossing the border with an axe on my back. So, I think I have to look for something to defend myself with here.
Yeah, go ahead and roll investigation.
Investigation. Hey, negative, just like all the other skills I have. I rolled a 7.
Hashtag barbarian life.
Yep.
The hardware store next door, they've got a pretty big blue trash bins. You look inside and you're able to find a rusty pipe. Looks like it was probably defective, and so they pitched it. This could definitely be a heavy blunt object.
That's better than just my bare hands. So I don't know necessarily that this guy's completely dead yet. So I guess I'm gonna grab the pipe and let's go, because I could potentially save him, I guess.
Okey-doke, go ahead and roll initiative.
All right. My initiative is a 10.
So I got a 19.
Ugh.
So, as you go to grab this pipe, you turn around and it's pitch black except for the yellow eyes that turn back towards the body, and you hear in the darkness and the rain, it's just kind of like ripping this guy apart. Sounds like the tearing of flesh, popping of bones, and he's not making any noise. This guy, it's just she's eviscerating him.
Gross.
She'll take her turn, and then at the start of your turn, the lightning flashes, and you see just the eviscerated body of Luis Gonzo in the alleyway, like she's flown off.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
This guy's like DED dead.
Oh, okay. I guess I don't want to approach the body, but I guess I kind of have to. I can see from here that he's probably dead, but I mean, I gotta put my actual real-life first aid training to practice here and make double check sure, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead and make a medicine check.
Not great. I rolled a 0 because it's a natural 1.
Oh no. Yeah, this guy is like dead as a doornail. No bringing him back. He's a goner.
Oh.
As you're like trying to give CPR, just give like basic first aid to check if he has any life signs. You do notice that next to him, one of the black feathers from this thing fell off. The feather itself is about 8 inches long, like a large black feather from this creature.
Okay, I will inspect this feather. I'm assuming I wouldn't be able to hear wings flapping in this thunderstorm.
The thunder and the rain obscures most of the noise.
There.
So as you look at this feather, go ahead and roll nature.
Alright. 11! Yay!
You can tell this is not from any normal bird. It's too large. The feather is a little bit more thick, a little more durable than like any bird where you could just pluck the feather out willy-nilly.
Sure.
As you're investigating the feather, the bartender, Patron, would come out, and he just kind of looks, and you see him, he brings his hand up to his mouth. What happened there, stranger?
It's not what it looks like. I know that's kind of tropey. It's not what it looks like.
Roll persuasion.
21, baby! Woo!
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Not going to be known as the feather murderer in Columbus, New Mexico.
Respect the belt, baby.
He kneels down and kind of starts to check like pulse and everything for Luis Gonzo as well. And he looks up and he says, I've heard of this kind of thing before. What did you see? Was it large?
It was a big bird.
Yes, big bird, yes.
Big bird.
And,
Oh no, it's Big Bird.
yeah, plot twist. You know, he looks at the feather in your hand and he says, Hi, La Lechuza is struck again.
The La Lechuza?
He says, look, man, I don't want any part of this. I'm just trying to run a decent establishment here. He says, look, if you want to bother with that creature, you'll go right ahead. In fact, and he pulls a pad of paper out. The rain is soaking the pad of paper. He's trying to write as fast as he can. He writes down a name. He says, Lola Maria. He says, look, man, you want to poke around with that beast? You go ahead. I'm not looking to die tonight. He says, you find Lola Maria.
Okay. Call the police.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah.
Okay.
And he throws his hands in the air, goes back in the bar, and gets ready to call 911.
Okay, I'm gonna go throw up now. Preferably not on or around the body.
Shouldn't that be a Constitution saving throw, bud?
Probably.
Let's see if I can hold that in. I got a 21 again.
Yes, you're able to hold it in pretty well.
Ugh.
We'll say it's not your first rodeo. You've seen a dead body or two.
Yeah, but not like eviscerated dead body.
Insides are on the outside.
I haven't witnessed a gruesome murder yet. This is probably the first time for that, but okay. So, I guess I'm going to find this bird.
Kind of the town old lady. Everyone kind of nicknames her Abuelita, little grandma. Her name is Lola Maria, and she's like the matron of the town. She's been around longer than anybody else. She's like 85. a couple of locals passing in the rain, they'd be able to direct you to her house. She has like a ramshackled house right in the middle of town. It's been there since the town was made. It's like her father's house, his father's house, and so on and so on. You can tell that there's a leaky roof. You can hear like the ping, ping, ping of like the rain coming inside, and like she's got pans. You can kind of hear and spy through the window catching this rain. She's got one of those big knockers on her door. How do you approach?
I will start by grabbing her big knocker.
Gotta reach all the way down to her knees.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm gonna knock, knock, knock.
Yeah, you hear the screech of cats.
Oh jeez.
You hear this little old voice. Just a minute, Sonny. Por favor, tengas paciencia. And this little old lady makes her way up to the door.
Okay.
She has like 4 locks that she undoes, various keys and whatnot. And then eventually the big door opens, and she stands maybe like 4'9". She's got kind of curly, graying black hair. She's got big cheeks, thick glasses, like Coke bottle glasses. She's just adorable, like the cutest little Hispanic woman you've ever seen in your life.
Oh, okay.
She says, "Whoa, you look sopping wet, mijo. Come in, get out of the rain. What do you think you're doing? You travel here without a coat? What are you, some kind of loco?"
Yes, actually. I never wear coats. I come in.
But yeah, you can tell the inside of the house, she hasn't really kept it up. There's like a thick layer of dust over everything. The fireplace has lots of old ashes. There's fine china that you would guess hasn't been used in years. She's got a rocking chair next to a radio on the little stand that she's listening to. And she just kind of sits in her rocking chair and motions for you to bring a chair up. She introduces herself. She says, "My name is Lola Maria."
Hello.
Who are you?
I'm Cord.
Cord? What is that short for?
Nothing. I'm Cord.
I suppose. If we can have share, we can have Cord.
Just as a side note, you're reaching on all of the annoying ass things I had to deal with this actually being my name through my whole life.
She kind of reaches down and has like a little paper bag, like a lunch bag, you know? And she reaches in and pulls out a few saltwater taffy pieces, and she hands you the bag. She says, "Taffy?"
No thanks. I'm not feeling very well.
Oh, that's okay. And as she puts the bag down, you can see that they're all banana flavor. She pops her teeth out and tosses a few in and starts to like gum them, get them all soft. And has a big swallow. Then she's like, "So what brings you to my house, mijo? How can I ayudarte?"
I was told that I need to come speak to you about some giant fucking bird that murdered an acquaintance of mine in town, like a couple minutes ago.
So as soon as you mention a giant fucking bird, she's got like a rosary that she wears around her neck, and she like clutches it like a middle-aged woman clutching her pearls.
Oh.
She says, "Hi, you come to me for La Lechuza."
Yeah, I think that's what he called it.
"Yes, I remember. Back when that first began. I was just a little girl." She starts to kind of rock back and forth in her chair. She kind of stares off at a blank part of the wall like she's trying to reminisce. Basically, she tells you that back when she was 5 or 6, just like a little kid, there was this famous, some called him a bandit, some called him a freedom fighter. His name was Pancho Villa. He was a Mexican freedom fighter / bandit, kind of like a Robin Hood, that came into town and gave money to the poor and all that stuff. He rode across the border into the United States in 1916, which actually happened, by the way.
Yes.
Rode into the border of the United States.
I'm slightly familiar with the poncho.
There was like soldiers stationed in Columbus, New Mexico, and he rode into town to get supplies, and a shootout occurred. And so Pancho Villa eventually had to retreat back into Mexico, back across the border, but it left about a dozen townsfolk dead and wounded in the crossfire between his forces and between the U.S. Army, including her. So yeah, Lola Maria, she would kind of pull down, and you can see that there's like an open bullet hole near her collarbone.
Whoa.
And yeah, it looks like it should be bleeding out, but apparently it's healed over. And she would continue and say, yeah, there's about a dozen of us that were wounded after the battle. And all of a sudden, this woman that none of us had seen before, she was completely unknown. She came in and offered to heal us. So we all assumed that she was some kind of nurse. So she took us into the local watering hole, started to patch us up, and just like that, all of our wounds were healed. One at a time, she came around to us, administered medicine and bandages. It was like we'd never been injured at all. She pats the hole in her collarbone. She says, "Now, I didn't want to say anything, but after I was healed up and I was recovering, I saw her heal a couple of others, and it seemed to me that she, being a 5 or 6 year old, I believed that she was a witch of some sort, using magic to heal us.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as word got out, the townsfolk here in Columbus, they panicked and thought she was an evil, bruja malvado, they call her, evil witch, and they burned her alive.
Okay.
When you kill a good witch unjustly, that is when they become La Lechuza. They're a curse and a stain on the community that harmed her.
You're saying this lady is a giant bird murdering people in the town?
She's murdered people since I was a little girl.
Okay. This is all very confusing.
She says, well, fear not. You have the brawn, I have the brains. And she kind of snaps her fingers right up near her temple. And she says, I'd never been strong enough to fight this creature, but with you here, now we can finish the deed. Can save the town, huh?
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
This is very good. So your character, you wouldn't have noticed right away, but she's got a big pair of cowboy boots on. Kind of like comically oversized cowboy boots for what a small lady she is.
Sure.
Out of the boots, she pulls a revolver, like a 6-shooter.
Holy shit.
She goes and like starts to check and make sure it's like fully loaded, like safety's not on, she's not fucking around, you know. And she pulls out one of the bullets and hands it to you. She says, now there's only one way to kill La Lechuza.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and roll investigation on the bullet.
16.
You would notice that the tip of the bullet has a cross carved into it.
Interesting.
She says, yes, these bullets have been dipped in holy water. They don't work right away, though. See, you gotta weaken her a bit. And then when she's weak, you can finish her off with the bullet. If you just try to beat her into submission, she goes away and then she comes back. This is the only way to finish the job.
I am pretty good at beatings and submission, so let's do that.
Yeah, she smiles and she's, you know, her teeth are still out, so she smiles. You see, like, all of her gums, you know? She says, well, let's make it post-haste then. Looks like the storm is dying down a little bit. She goes and pops her teeth back in and kind of hobbles her way over to the table. There, she grabs a couple of plastic bags and some white bread and peanut butter and starts to make 2 peanut butter sandwiches. One for you, one for her, while you're out on the mission.
Protein. Great.
Yeah, it's good for growing boys like yourself, huh? She kind of, like, playfully slaps your shoulder.
Yes. Yes. Very much.
She grabs her big truck keys and she would say, now, one more thing. I just need to grab something for you if we're going to do this job right. She goes, kind of hobbles her way upstairs. She's, like, very firmly, like, leaning on the banister, you know, to make her way up there. Hear, like, a crash, and it sounds like things are flying everywhere, and just a whole big ruckus upstairs. Then she hobbles back down, and she would grab a cavalry saber.
Holy shit.
Which she presents to you. And she says, now, my father was actually in the United States Army when Pancho Villa attacked. She says, this was his old cavalry saber from back in the day, in his days in the Army. She says, if we're going to do this right, you need something a little bit better than a lead pipe, huh?
I suppose.
She just smiles and says, I'm too weak. I can't swing it anymore anyway.
I will take the sword and give it a practice swing, I guess. Avoiding the old lady in front of me.
Right. You want to just cleave her in half.
Just, wow, thanks. Swing!
That would be terrible.
Well, I am a heel, so...
But yeah, you swing it. You can tell the blade is just as sharp as when her father used it back, 80 years ago. And it's even got his name etched into it. His name was Hector Maria.
Sweet.
She says, now, I don't suppose you want to walk out in the rain, you see? When we go to summon this thing to kill it, we want to do it outside of town so that there's no casualties, huh?
Well, no more casualties.
More casualties, of course. Who did they kill?
Luis, the drunk guy.
Oh, that poor cousin of mine. I always knew he'd get into trouble. So she says, no, I got a red truck outside, a little bit rusty, but the roof is still intact. She says, that way we get you out of the rain a little bit, sweetie.
That sounds like a great idea.
She just smiles and kind of pats you on the shoulder again. That's about as high as she can reach without, like, a stool.
Yeah.
She would kind of hobble her way over. There's a couple of cement steps that lead out to the garage where her truck is, and it's got, like, a headlight out. There's, like, holes in it, like, in the door and stuff, and in the back with rust. One of the wheels is, like, spare. Not, like, a reliable spare. She kind of hops up inside. You can see she's short enough that she has to sit on 2 phone books to see over the dashboard.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so she just kind of hops up and offers you a seat in the passenger side. It smells like cats, the inside of this truck does.
Oh. I don't like this town.
So she kicks it into gear and she says, now I know a little abandoned barn outside of town. We can summon this thing. And then you can do your magic, Mr. Wrestler Luchador. She pats your gold belt, and she says, and then we come home and have a couple of cervezas to celebrate.
Did you say summon it?
Indeed, yes.
You can do that?
See, according to what I've read, La Lechuza can be summoned by swearing at it.
Oh, that'll be easy. All right.
Very easy indeed. Yes.
Okay. Cervezas sound great.
She just kind of, like an old person, drives down the lane, and eventually you see the lights of town kind of leaving back behind you. As you're kind of looking around inside this truck, lightning is still kind of flashing, but the rain has subsided a bit. It's still kind of drizzling, but not like full-on pouring.
Right.
You'd see that there's the gun that she has in her cowboy boot, and then there's another gun in the cup holder, another 6-shooter revolver. And as you go to pull down the little mirror, there's another 6-shooter that's strapped up there, then one inside the center console.
Man, you are fully loaded. What the hell?
She says, I know my rights.
I mean, I'm into it. I got guns too, just not here.
She just like has a little old granny laugh. And she says, one time the policia tried to pull me over, said I had a busted headlight. Can you believe that? He says, now, the police questioned me. He says, now, what do you got all these guns for? What you afraid of, lady? And you know what I told him?
What'd you tell me?
I said, with all these guns, I ain't afraid of a goddamn thing. But yeah, eventually, lightning striking, a little bit of light coming from the truck. The one working headlight. She kind of pulls off the road, and you guys see a big abandoned farm with a barn behind. She says, that ought to do the trick there, buddy. Says, now,
Okay.
Before we go, did you have your peanut butter sandwich?
No. But I'll eat it now?
Says, yeah, you can't be adventuring on an empty stomach, you know what I'm saying?
I suppose you're right, yeah.
You know who else had an empty stomach? Luis Ganso. Look what happened to him,
Oh
huh?
my god. I will now vigorously eat a peanut butter sandwich. Just, oh god. He doesn't have a stomach at all anymore.
Right? Yeah, so you guys make it into the barn. There's like a big pile of hay kind of in the back and a big busted out window that illuminates a little bit from the lightning and stuff. She goes around, lights a couple of torches. So there's like dim light inside this barn. It's probably about 40 feet long, 20 feet wide on the inside, with the back 5 feet being just covered in hay. Go ahead and roll investigation.
I rolled a 12.
So her one boot has a gun in it. Out of her other boot, she pulls a little can of salt. She starts to sprinkle the salt in a circle. And as she's doing it, she explains, you got to be inside the circle when you go to curse at La Lechuza. And that should summon it if you do it loud enough and long enough. If you can get her within the circle, then you two will be trapped there, in the ring, so to speak, for you to damage her, and then you can finish her off with a bullet.
Interesting. We're now getting into my wheelhouse here.
Yeah.
Trap you in a confined space. It's a cage match now, baby.
Yeah, she just smiles. She says, yes, I believe in your abilities. Says, otherwise you don't get that fancy belt, huh?
Yeah, I suppose you're right. I had to beat a lot of skilled people to get this.
Oh, yes. Lucha Mundo, I haven't been there in years.
Lucha Libre is the best.
She says, well, if you ever find your way down here again sometime, then you can take me out to it. How about that? We make a day of it.
I'll give 2 thumbs up to that one.
She just kind of winks at you in like a cute little old lady way. And she says, who knows? I might even give you a kiss on the cheek when you're done, huh? She just giggles to herself.
Please tell me she's a former luchador.
Fuck yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so she finishes the salt circle. She stands back, and she's got a couple of, like, 2 pistols on her, 2 6-shooters on her, and she's just checking to make sure they're all loaded and everything. Mm-hmm. You hear the snap of the gun, pulls both hammers back, hear the click. She nods and says, well, let her rip, Base.
How long do I have to curse at her for?
It depends on how offensive you are, honestly.
Okay. Guess I gotta pull out the see you next Tuesday word, huh? Gord was not comfortable saying the words he decided to actually say during this portion. Just know they were extremely offensive.
So you start cussing into the wind. You notice the storms start to pick back up. Lightning, thunder, crashing. The doors of the barn start to fly, open and close. And the wind that picks up. And finally, you start to hear almost like a hiss, like a teapot that's ready to go. You hear a whoomph outside the barn, and stalking towards, boom, boom, boom. You see in the dim light walks the same bird creature as before. This time she seems a little bit different, though. She looks a little bit more woman-like, almost like a harpy from Greek mythology, where she's got the wings and the clawed talons on her hands and feet. Her face looks a little bit more like a woman, but with like a long, sharp beak. She looks at you, and you hear this voice inside your head. It just says,
What did you call me? Did you say to me, you whelp?
I called you up. I called you up.
At which point, La Lechuza, you see her eyes squint as she lets out like a guttural growl as she charges right into the salt circle. At which point, Lola Maria, she says, well, big guy, you're on.
I pull out the cavalry saber, and before we even start, I have a question. How big is this salt circle?
It is 15 feet in diameter.
It's a small ring. All right, I got you.
Go ahead and roll me initiative.
All right, initiative is 8.
All right, so she's going to get the jump on you as she kind of charges into the circle like no holds barred. She's pretty pissed.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to use her talon attack. She has 2 talons she's going to try and swipe you with.
Okay.
First one is a 20, non-natural. Second one is an 8.
You hit with the first one.
All right, she's going to do 6 damage to you.
Ouch.
Her talon like rips into your flesh. Looks like they're razor sharp. Blood kind of sprays, flicks across the barn. Abuelita, she can't watch. She like winces off in the corner.
Ouch. Oh, God. That hurt. Okay. Okay. It's on now. You murdered somebody that I was cool with, and now you hurt me. It's time for the rage. I get very angry. I'm probably pumped from cursing this lady out. My rage knows no bounds.
Oh yeah. One thing also, because you're fighting on a full stomach, I'm gonna give you advantage on these this first round's attack rolls.
Hell yeah. I am also going to choose specifically to frenzy. So I'll make additional attacks as bonus actions if I choose. Okay, so I'm assuming since she clawed me that she's right up on my business here.
Indeed she is, right up in your grill.
I am going to just give her all my business. Swinging and swinging.
Deal. Let's see what you got.
The first one's a 26.
They'll get there.
What's the damage on the saber? Since it's probably not the same as the axe.
Are you using saber in one hand, pipe in the other? Or are you dual wielding, or like two-handing the saber?
I was just gonna two-hand the saber. That seems legit.
Damage, it's going to be a d10 plus your strength mod, plus your rage damage.
Yes. So my damage is a 14 for that one.
Nice.
Then I make my extra attack.
Yes, as you go to slice, you cut a good chunk off of one of her wings. There's blood and ooze kind of sprays everywhere. Like, it starts to smell pretty putrid, kind of like a rotten mold.
Gross.
Go ahead and make your extra attack.
My extra attack is a 22.
That will also hit.
The damage on that is 11.
Good deal.
And then I will make my frenzy attack, which will be... You say I have advantage on this first turn?
Yep. These attacks have advantage.
That would be an 18.
Good. 18 also hits.
Oh, man. Beautiful. So that is 13 damage. Man, chunks.
Yeah. So it's like, first attack you slash up at her, take some of the wing off. Second attack, you bury the sword right into where the wing meets her shoulder, and she lets out a loud screech. As nothing has hurt her like this before. Third attack, you're able to wrench the sword out, and you're able to slash right across her belly. You send feathers flying like you just cut into a feather pillow filled with blood.
Wait.
The whole place starts to smell like mold, like death and rotten cheese.
That oughta...
Go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
That oughta weaken her a good bit. I got a 12.
You get the feeling like you're gonna throw up a little bit.
I got...
The smell is just god-awful. At which point you hear a voice in your head.
Is that all you've got, you young whelp? I fought children tougher than you. Call yourself a wrestler, a luchador. Why don't you throw me some marshmallows? That might do more damage.
Okay, you're talking shit. I get it. I like you.
As you go to turn around, trying to hold in your vomit from this god-awful stench, she's going to use her ability called Captivating Gaze. I would like you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, jeez. I rolled a 10.
So she looks at you, and as you kind of look into her eyes, you start to hear this almost like a siren song, kind of a soft voice, almost like serenading you. There's almost like a rhythmic tone to it that just completely lets your guard down. Like your pupils dilate, kind of like Sokka on cactus juice.
Gotcha.
There's a point your jaw just drops. You have like one string of spit oozing out of your mouth as he has you under her spell.
The orb of confusion.
So at the end of your turn, you're allowed to make a wisdom saving throw. So she spends her whole turn trying to captivate and gaze you, which has gone off.
Okay.
So yeah, she's got you under her spell, so to speak.
All right.
So on your turn, you are completely mesmerized. It's like you're can't lift your arms, can't lift your legs. It's like you're just stuck there, like a prisoner in your own body, as she slowly stalks back towards you across the ring. And you hear this kind of guttural noise, like a purring almost. As she goes along, you see a long forked tongue come out of her beak and start to lick her lips as she closes in.
Well, this is a sticky pickle.
On your turn, you are stuck, but at the end of the turn, you can redo the wisdom save.
All right. Come on, -1 wisdom score.
Yeah, trying to get a 13 or higher. That'll end it.
I rolled a 10 again, so no.
There's just no coming out of this. It's like your arms feel sluggish. You can't hardly even move your mouth to talk as your whole jaw just hangs slack. Your tongue at this point flops out. She whispers in your ear. Her beak opens as she says,
You will fall just like all the rest. All those others in this godforsaken town that scorned me after I healed their people, after I used my magic for good. What more do they want from me? What do you want from me?
Oh, I'm mesmerized. I'll answer her when I'm done.
So she's going to use an attack called Patron's Cry. It's kind of like a psychic attack. Because you are current state, she's going to get advantage.
Yikes.
That would be a 21 to hit.
Yeah.
All right, she's going to do 11 damage to you.
Ouch.
11 psychic damage as you hear this chorus. That kind of serene voice in your head turns to children crying. And it's just like this cacophony of like crying kids, crying babies. It just sounds like the whole barn is echoing it. You try to listen when thunder and lightning strike, that you can see it, but you can't hear it. Abuelita, Lola Maria is there shouting and waving her gun, trying to get you back in the ring, back in the fight, but you can't hear, you can only see her. All you hear is the crying of children.
Oh, man.
On your turn, so she attacked you, so that's going to end the charm effect.
Good.
You can take your turn as normal then.
Okay. I am going to look up at her and say, I want you to eat shit and die, motherfucker. And I'm gonna swing. Oh, the first attack is a natural 1.
We'll chalk that up to the screaming kids in your head.
Yeah, okay. So, extra attack. That one's a 24.
There you go. That'll do it.
That's max damage, 16.
Ooh. Yeah, so you take that sword, kind of able to shake the voices out and able to focus your rage, focus your energy, and you're able to slice kind of down this time, down across her chest. And the sword itself almost implants itself into the ground because of the force of your swing. Mm-hmm. The top 3 inches of the sword kick up a little bit of dirt as it cleaves into the ground. The force of this attack visibly staggers her back.
Sweet. And then I get one more attack for Frenzy. So we're gonna come back up with it.
Excellent. Go ahead and roll it.
That's a 16.
We'll do it. Yep.
All right.
Go ahead and roll it. Yeah.
14 damage.
All right. She is not looking so hot. So you stagger her back. That other attack, you rip the sword up out of the ground, and it kicks up a little dirt into her eyes, so it takes her off guard when instead of slashing, you're able to stab her with it right in the chest.
Yeah.
This black spray comes out, kind of like Alien. It just covers your face in this tar-like ooze
Gross.
that just smells god-awful.
Gross.
At which point, she's going to try and escape. But as she goes up to the salt circle, it's almost like she's hitting like an invisible barrier. Like now that the challenge is initiated and she's in here, now she's stuck with you. And so she turns around and looks back at you, and you see a look of real horror in her eyes.
Oh, perfect.
She is going to, once again, try to go all out and talon attack you. You gets 2 talon attacks. That would be a 17 and a 13.
13 meets my AC.
Only have 13 AC?
Yeah, I have no armor.
Oh my god.
No armor.
That's rough, dude. Hey, she's doing 12 damage to you with her 2 talons as she slashes across, trying to take as much flesh as she can. You're bound and determined not to die here. Not to die to you, of all people.
Those 12 total?
12 total. Yep.
I do have, since I'm raging, resistance against slashing. Would that be down to 6, yes?
Yes. Her attacks don't count as magical.
Okay.
The psychic one does, but her claws don't. Alright, yeah, she's just gonna try and give you everything she's got. Go ahead, your go.
Alrighty. You said she wasn't looking so hot.
Correct. Yeah, she's filled with cuts and stabs at this point. You've really done a number on her.
Alright, I am going to full swing again.
I suerte, amigo.
17 for the first one.
Will hit.
10 damage.
Yeah, so you're able to slash once again kind of across the belly, cut another deep gash into her feathers. This time, a huge chunk of feathers comes off and it exposes like her bloody abdomen and like her kind of exposed underbelly, so to speak.
Okay, I will go for my extra attack. That's a 9.
And gonna miss.
If I'm able to, cinematic-wise. Attempt to set her up for the gunshot, so I'm gonna try to hit her with my fucking finishing move, baby.
Oh, hell yeah. Do the thing.
My finisher move is essentially a big spine buster. Going for the grapple here.
Yeah, in that case, that would be an athletics roll.
Oh, okay.
Versus her athletics or acrobatics.
I'm gonna set her up for hopefully getting shot.
So I got a 10 on my roll to resist.
Okay, do I have advantage on that?
Yeah, athletics is a strength-based check. So because you're raging, you'll have advantage on it.
Oh, okay, sweet. I got 24.
Oh, yeah. So you got over double what she got. So talk me through this finishing move.
Okay, so my finishing move, it's called a sky high. I would essentially pick her up by her chest, spin her around, and just completely spinebuster her onto the ground.
Sweet. I'm not even going to make you roll damage on it. You rolled high enough with your athletics. All of her strength just gives way. Spin her around. You hear an audible crunch as you slam her on the ground.
Beautiful.
At which point, the noise in your ears, the crying children, stops, and all you hear from across the barn is, "You can do it, mijo! You can do it!" You look over, you see Abuelita Lola Maria. She goes and she takes out one of the pistols, kind of spins the bullets, snaps it right in, and she tosses it across the barn to you, like epic slow-mo revolver flying through filled with the magic bullet. Go ahead and roll either acrobatics or sleight of hand to catch this thing.
Oh, jeez. They're both a 0. I guess I'll go with acrobatics. I rolled a 3.
So part of it falls right outside the salt circle. The other part, so it's kind of like lands right on it, and it displaces the salt a bit. So the circle is broken, at which point you'd see La Lechuza's eyes flash open, and they're like blood red, like a desperate blood red.
Oh, God.
So with her kind of still prostrate on the ground, she starts to kind of contort, like in the ghost movies, you know, where the monster like kind of contorts its body, kind of jerky, as you're able to move over, grab the gun. Your final words to La Lechuza.
Well, I'd usually say chumps get lumps, but I'm going to use my other catchphrase, which is going to be, "You can take this L, bro," and then I'm going to grab that gun and...
So you grab the gun. There's quite a bit of kickback, but she's pretty much point-blank range, able to shoot her right in the chest, and there's a huge splatter out her back as the bullet flies through. You see her red eyes kind of soften, and they turn to more of a blue as the feathers start to fall off of her, kind of en masse, and she slowly reverts back to her original human form when she was a good witch. And she was actually a pretty lady. Like, her skin is pale white, almost ghost-like, and the feathers fall out. She reverts back to her former self, and then she collapses on the ground dead.
Woo! Oh, man. I'm going to roll off and, I guess, brush myself off here.
As you're brushing yourself off, Lola Maria, you hear her gasp. As you look over, you see the bullet hole from when she was a child. It was magically healed by La Lechuza. She was a good witch. Starts to bleed.
Oh no. Oh no.
She collapses back into the hay pile.
Oh shit. I'm gonna look for something to try to stop that bleeding.
Yeah, in the truck, you see some bandages. You also see her bag of taffy. She brought that with.
I'm gonna bring both.
So at this point, she's got kind of like a white old lady dress, that she's been wearing. The blood is really starting to stain. You can tell at this point she's lost a lot of blood.
Okay.
Her eyes are closed, and she's just kind of mumbling. She opens her eyes as you press the bandage against her. She puts her hand on yours, and it feels kind of like cold and weak. She says, "Mijo, I do not have much time. I think her magic was the only thing keeping this wound at bay."
I can fix this.
No, I only ask right now for my rosary. Where is my rosary?
I look around for the rosary.
In all the confusion and the thunder and the wind and stuff, it kind of snapped and, we'll say, it blew off across the barn. Be able to go over and bring it to her. She holds onto the rosary, kind of with both hands as she quietly says a prayer. She opens her eyes and looks very weak, and she says, "Now, I do not want you to think me selfish. The prayer was not for myself, but for you, Cord." Says, "We've done a good thing here." She says, I rest happy knowing that this monster will never plague the town. I have no one but you to thank."
Oh God. I'm gonna be tearing up there. That sucks. I liked her.
At one point, she reaches very weakly out for your hand.
I give it to her.
And she takes her other hand and presses the rosary into it and closes your hand around it, and she says, "One final gift from me to you. Says it's the least I could do for saving my town. I'll always remember you, Cord. Pray for you."
And I'll remember you.
At that, she closes her eyes and passes away. As she breathes her last, you'd be able to see kind of above her on the second floor. Like I said, there's kind of the busted out window in this barn here. The storm immediately stops, and you see the sun peek back out from the clouds.
And damn, I liked her.
The heart is also a muscle, Cord.
I'm gonna go kick this dead body of this La Lechuza bitch. How dare you? How dare you?
This is really fun.
Right? like, this is great. I made everybody cry. Oh god.
I'm picturing like wrestling me just being like, man, what the hell is going on with giant flying monsters all of a sudden? These fucking assholes.
Okay, first of all, excellent job, Ben. So freaking awesome. You're a fantastic writer. I love it.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
It's 100% true. You know how I feel. And also, thank you for giving Cord his first trinket that I will now have to figure out what the heck that does for you. I think that should do something very special for you.
I already added her rosary and the saber to my inventory, so
Oh, hell yeah.
those are staying with me. I don't care.
Hell yeah.
So on the stat block, she can't be damaged by non-magical weapons. But I was like hand waving it behind the screen, so to speak, where it's like, this sword, it's kind of like powered up by the ghost of her father who used it, so it's magic-y.
Oh yeah, I'm actually gonna we're gonna stat that as a magical weapon.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the perfect time for him to get it because in the first one he did not have any magic weapon. And the Van Meter Visitor, I don't think I had him. You didn't need a magic weapon anyway. He's a giant beast. Just bring him down. Yeah.
Totally.
So very, very cool. And kind of funny because I didn't even think about it as I was getting you this information and then I was going on vacation and then I was like, oh fuck. I should have thought about that a little bit more because I didn't really give Cord a weapon, but we'll see. We'll figure it out. Yeah, so you kind of figured it out for me. Thank you. Thanks for that.
No problem. Anytime.
So we'll get our artist to do your rosary and your weapon and maybe offer those too on Patreon. Cord we just keep adding stuff to your inventory and then
I love it.
That's pretty cool.
Soon I'm gonna have to change it to wrestler / monster hunter and then
right? Yeah, well, I'm okay. A little aside for those who are listening who are also obviously huge D&D fans. I spent 10 hours total trying to create a subclass for an NPC for my game on D&D Beyond, and that's how long it friggin' took me to figure out how to do it because there's no actual instructions on D&D Beyond anywhere that tells you how to do this. Yeah, I just want to throw it out there because it was really annoying.
Sure. Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with D&D Beyond.
It works.
Never been on it.
It works better. It's except for building the things, which I was the only reason saying that is that Cord, I should eventually, like after so many times, you'll get a subclass that should be like a monster hunter. After you've taken down so many of these cryptids, I already have an idea in my head for where you're going with this, but
Sweet.
Yeah, I know it's gonna take. Well, it'll take less time now, but it took 10 hours total to. Yeah, that was horrible. I'll never get back that time. But anyway, thanks D&D Beyond. It is actually in every other aspect. It's for me better than Roll20. I don't know. Not that Roll20 is terrible. It's just we just made the decision to use D&D Beyond, so it is what it is.
I'm using Roll20 for mine.
When we were in quarantine last May and June, I ran Waterdeep Dragon Heist with Jarlaxle Bayenry as the bad guy, and we used Roll20. And I had a hell of a time with that, too. It's like there wasn't a good... All the tutorials I looked up online, it's like they already assumed that you're further than I was with it. And it's like, I don't even... What do I do, There was like a good 2 weeks where it was just clicking buttons and hopefully something good happens,
Right? Yeah, it's like, let's try this. That's not what I want. Okay, how about this? We'll try this. Yeah, that's why it took 10 hours, because it was a job that I did not get paid for.
Yeah, you do the thing and you click the wrong button and then you delete everyone's character on the map and it's like, fuck.
Yes. Ben, thank you again, as always, for being part of Cord versus Cryptid. As I said, you're going to be on again at some point. We're just not sure exactly which Cryptid yet. We'll figure it out. Listeners, you can find Ben where he is the GM over at the TTRPG podcast called Lost Legends Tales of Thurne. Please go listen because it's freaking awesome. And he has a blog called Beardy the Dungeon Master. And you have tons and tons of puns and all kinds of fun stuff over there. And then follow him on Twitter because, again, puns and fun stuff. That's Ben in a nutshell.
Puns are 90% of my Twitter.
Yeah, I love it. For those interested, I created the stat block for today's Cryptid. The art the art for the card is produced by Chris Stone, our resident artist. The digital art /stat card is available to those Patreon members who sign up for the $3 level or higher. Yep. Congratulate. Yep. $3 higher. Yep. Who sign up for the $3 level or higher. We will also have t-shirts with the art available in our Teespring store after this airs. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in about a month for our next installment of Cord versus Cryptid. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
This has been fun as fuck.